fiscal year, May 1 through April 30th at 6:30 p.m. on April 23rd. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I see some students here, so welcome. I assume you're from Central. And as usual, if you need at the end proof to your wonderful teacher who harasses me all the time, we can take a picture afterwards, and then you can turn it into it and get the credit you need. Okay? Very good. You have picked one of our potentially longest meetings that we've had in 4 or 5 years. So, welcome. All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Jerry Daly.
Here.
Trustees Richmond. Present. George Duberstein.
Here.
Priest.
Here.
Georgianne Duberstein. Here. Koval. Here. And Williams.
Here. We have a quorum. Need a motion to approve the agenda. So moved. Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. George Duberstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein. Aye. Koval. Aye. And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Presentation of the ordinance. Kelly?
Good evening, everyone. So you should have had plenty of time to review the appropriation ordinance. It was discussed in full at the last meeting. The public hearing announcement was published in our paper back on April 5th. And so tonight is kind of like a final presentation of, well, it's not really a presentation because we presented it already, but final discussions about it. At the last board meeting, there was no increases that we shared. From that meeting until now, there was one more increase, and that was our auditing firm. We decided to be safe and increase it an overall of about $8,000 because there are a couple more GASB requirements again this year. So that is the only other increase in the appropriation ordinance. Do any other trustees have any questions?
Okay, we're not in discussion yet, so I have any public comments on the appropriation ordinance? Or
Mayor, I have a point of inquiry. Okay, so my point of inquiry is on the, do I have to announce my address now?
I'm sorry. No.
Okay. My point of inquiry is that I see that you have the SSA funds, and I looked at the appropriations online. And I also see that you have under street funds.
I'm sorry, no, what one?
Under street fund,
Street funds, okay.
I'm looking at an item that has 80,000 as a target for Cranberry Lakes wetlands. Is that a fixed target? Is that targeted for Cranberry Lakes in this budget year?
And how does it read?
18,000 for Cranberry.
18,000?
Yes,
That
in
would be-
addition to the SSA portion.
The budget serves as a guideline. We may have plans to, it won't be used for something else, but we may not spend it all.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Does that
All
address
right.
it?
No, I have a comment, I believe, in the next, about the next agenda items specifically. And so I just want to know where to put my comments. But in order to save time for the board, because I realize we have a huge meeting tonight, I've made copies of a request, bullet point copies of a request, which I'd be happy to hand out to you in lieu of that when we get to the next meeting.
I understand that. I think I understand. Are you looking for answers now?
No, I'm
Oh.
not looking for answers now. I'm only making a comment and
Okay.
for your consideration.
All right.
So that's.
Go ahead,
that's all
pass it on.
I can wait until the next meeting, which is what it's more related to than
All right.
to this meeting.
Depending on what you're looking for and want to discuss, the budget is up for approval tonight.
Yes.
If it's approved, will that alter your, or just, do you have suggestions for down the road?
I'm only making a request and comment for your consideration.
Okay.
I'm not trying to contest the items as they're related on the agenda.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Any other comments? Okay, discussion, board, appropriation ordinance. Hearing none. Need a motion to adjourn public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond? Aye. George Duberstein?
Aye.
Priest?
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein? Aye. Koval? Aye. And Williams?
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned at 6:37. All right, well done, thanks, bye. All right, I need a motion to open the regular board meeting at 6:37 for April 25th.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond? Aye. George Duberstein?
Aye.
Priest?
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein? Aye. Koval? Aye. And Williams?
Aye. We have quorum. Need a motion to approve the agenda. So,
Second.
roll call.
Trustees Richmond? Aye. George Duberstein?
Aye.
Priest?
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein? Aye. Koval? Aye. And Williams?
Aye. All right, before we start public comments, I have a statement I'd like to read. This is the time for public comment, which means that citizens have an opportunity to address the board. The board and I will listen attentively to your comments. However, we are not required to respond. I wish to note for the audience and the board that the village has provided the Alliance, through Mrs. Pribble, with information about the village's efforts regarding the issue at every step, including their written request for information that Mrs. Pribble sent on March 21st. As of today, the Army Corps has not completed a jurisdictional determination regarding the affected wetland. Until that is finalized, it is our attorney's opinion that the village has no authority to issue a permit for the reconstruction nor to issue a fine. With that, Dr. O'Malley.
Yes. Yes, I look okay. That might be helpful. Oh. Okay, I guess I'll begin. So, hi everyone, I'm Dr. James O'Malley. I just want to thank each of you for giving that opportunity to speak this evening. I'm here tonight to talk about degradation.
I'm sorry, sir, I'm going to have to ask you to speak up just a little bit.
A little bit longer.
I've got my hearing aids turned up, but I don't want to miss anything.
I have those too. So.
Okay.
All right, I'll try again. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. James O'Malley. I first want to thank each of you, everyone here too. I'm here to talk about the degradation of that wetland we referred to earlier. My family and I live in Madrona. We lived there for 20 years. We love this community, especially the outdoor areas that are available to us for hiking, biking, and the critical retention of natural environments, for too many reasons to speak of this today. And I thank you for the work you've done to preserve those areas, certainly. Professionally speaking, I've been a school teacher at Edison Elementary, consulting for 30 years. I teach 5th grade for advanced learners. I taught 4th grade inclusion. I've been a school science specialist and a national board certified teacher, 2-time gold Equal Teacher Distinction, and I received the Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science Teaching from President Obama in 2017. I'm also an adjunct professor for SIU at COC at the University Center. I bring that up really just to explain that I have a commitment professionally, personally, to science and science instruction. And I talk a lot about habitat preservation with my students, so that's kind of the point of that. In that packet note, an email I had found prepping for this evening that I forgot about, and it references my efforts to bring to someone's attention how wonderful that wetland had actually become, evolved over time. And I had forgotten about that in July of 2022. And that's on page 1 of that packet. So I did have some concerns on the time, and I don't recall why I did. The following spring, as the photographs on page 2 show, you'll see a healthy and productive wetland teeming with authentic photos for no specific reason other than to know the beauty of the area, the appreciation I felt that the area had evolved so well. Page 3 includes samples of the wildlife present. These 2 pages combine the wetland in its peak of health and nature-based productivity. There's a lot of nesting there too as well, which I didn't have pictures of egress in particular. In April of 2023, things turned when I noticed a digger of some sort, I don't know anything about construction. I instantly knew this did not bode well. After that point, as you know, in the series of photographs on page 4, the area began to recede, regress, and degrade. The birds left the area dried up, remains in the wet. At that time, I was conducting rusty patch bumblebee surveys through a research project connected to Lake Forest County Forest Preserve. And I reached out to my team. I said, what can I do to help save this area? It looks like it's gone, right? This led me to the Illinois DNR, Hainesville representatives who were certainly cordial. I began communications. We emailed back and forth. I think I had a phone call as well. I can't recall with who. But they were very kind. We emailed, like I said, back and forth. But then that communication dried up, just like the wetland. I thought all was lost until the wonderful people here from the Manitou Creek group, Susan Pribble in particular, who reached out to me after foiling some communications between as it so happened myself in the village. And again, I thought all was lost. And I don't by any means consider myself anyone here as adversaries by any means. I think we're all, in collaboration. We want the best for our community. And I hope the area can be restored to its natural beauty. And that this this restoration could be expedited. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Ms. Pribble.
Good evening. My name is Susan Pribble, and I'm a volunteer at the Manitou Creek Watershed Alliance. And first of all, I want to thank all of you so much for serving for the Village of Hainesville as board members. We know that you all sincerely care about your community. Environmental violations occurred at the Northbrook Sports Club in Hainesville more than 1 year ago, and the fact that the violations occurred is not in dispute. They were well documented by your own village enforcement officer, Jake Wellbank, in his detailed April 13, 2023 memo. The violations were also documented in public photos by Jim O'Malley, and also using near-map satellite imagery. And so we come here tonight believing that we're all on the same page, hoping that we can all agree that any property owner choosing to drain a large wetland without permits is just wrong. Hopefully we also share the same goal to help ensure that it does not happen again. Remember that it was local residents who initially reported these wetland violations to the IDNR, to the Village of Hainesville, and to SMC in March of 2023. And we are grateful to members of the public like Dr. O'Malley, who took time to report something that just didn't look right to them. And we hope that as caring public officials, you will appreciate it whenever a local resident sees something odd and reports it. Over the past year, we have continued to seek information from the village, including directly from Mayor Daley, from the enforcement officer, and via the Freedom of Information Act. We've spoken with SMC staff, and earlier this year I contacted the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. From our perspective, members of the public did everything right here. The public reported the violations to numerous agencies, followed up by seeking more information, and followed up again when it was clear that the wetland was not being restored. And tonight, we're here again to follow up on the need for enforcement. The village enforcement officer's firm first mentioned the idea or the issue of fining the sports club in June of 2023. And that was not just because they had drained a 20-plus acre wetland with no permits, but because they were dragging their feet at that time in moving forward with the restoration process. Enforcement Officer Wellbank told the sports club in April of 2023 to apply for what's called a jurisdictional determination, they call it a JD. And this is a necessary early step for restoration. The sports club could have acted right away and applied for a preliminary jurisdictional determination, JD, from SMC. We've spoken with staff at SMC who informed us that it would have taken them about 3 weeks to process that request, and site restoration could have begun at that time, a year ago. But rather than act with urgency and apply through SMC, the sports club did not take action. Finally, on December 6th, 2023, they applied for a JD, a jurisdictional determination, through the Army Corps of Engineers. In the eyes of the public, there's no excuse in delaying 8 months. 8 months to even apply for a JD when it's really clear that that wasn't required step, and they have been told so. When I wrote to the Army Corps of Engineers on January 31st of this year, they did not even have this case on their radar yet. But thankfully, after receiving my email, Army Corps Senior Enforcement Officer Mike Mahalik pulled this case out of his overflowing inbox, his overcrowded inbox, and moved it in front of 150 other cases. And that is why restoration work will hopefully be done this year. If the public had not gotten involved, any restoration of this wetland would have been delayed even longer. We know that the intentional draining of the large wetland was in no way the fault of the village. However, as a certified community, you do have both the authority and the responsibility to assess penalties, especially from those who blatantly violate the watershed development ordinance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Charlotte?
Hi. My name's Gloria Charlotte, and I'm on the Environmental Committee of the Manitou Creek Drainage District. And speaking of awards, last year, the Illinois Lakes Management Association gave me the award as the Lake Steward of the Year for Illinois.
Congratulations.
And I am here to ask an obvious question. As a long-established business, the Northbrook Sports Club have the resources to consult before moving ahead with non-permitted work in violation of the Lake County Watershed Development Ordinance, the WDO. Yet for some reason, they chose not to avail themselves of those resources. So why did the Northbrook Sports Club choose to violate the WDO? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say there was some type of emergency in the middle of the night or on the weekend. The club could have later self-reported and explained to the village why they chose to have emergency work done without permits. But that's not what they did. Remember, the only reason the village found out about these violations is because members of the public noticed and took action. Perhaps you're asking, why are members of the public so concerned about this? Well, the Watershed Development Ordinance exists because watersheds are not limited to one village or even one township. It's important to emphasize that this type of violation is not just a Hainesville issue. What happens in one place in a watershed can affect everyone else. I live on Long Lake downstream from the destroyed wetland belonging to the Northbrook Sports Club, and I want to explain how wetlands are important to everyone in the watershed, especially downstream. When someone pulls the plug on a wetland of over 20 acres, suddenly sending millions of gallons of water into the watershed, the high rate of flow would have caused even more erosion on a highly impaired creek, digging the creek into an even deeper trench and dragging suspended solids down to Long Lake. And, very importantly, the wetland serves as a filter for pollutants and an important sponge that slows down and stores stormwater. And you know we've already had some flooding conditions this spring. The lack of stormwater retention is an ongoing risk to other property owners. And finally, Lake County is home to more endangered and threatened species than any other county in Illinois, many of whom live in our wetlands. What has happened to these plants, trees, and creatures while the wetland has remained dry for over a year? The Village of Hainesville has the authority and responsibility to enforce the WDO and penalize those who violate it. Thank
Benjamin.
Thank you very much, and good evening. Good evening. Really appreciate everyone's time. My name's Grant Benjamin, and I'm also a volunteer with the Manitou Creek Watershed Alliance. And we work for all of the communities within the watershed, whether it's upstream or downstream. We've reviewed the proposed Northbrook Sports Club restoration plan for the wetland, and we're confident that Hay & Associates, great company, will do a great job once they get started after the Army Corps paperwork is finalized. We sincerely hope work will finally begin this spring. But as others have already mentioned this evening, this entire process is lagged primarily due to foot dragging by the sports club. At this time, members of the public are seeking to learn what penalties the sports club will be assessed by the village. We want to ensure that there's deterrence for these kinds of actions in the future. As a fully certified community under the WDO, the village has the authority and the responsibility to fine those who violate it. Section 1201.01, you like that, look that up, of the WDO reads, quote, failure to comply with any of the requirements of this ordinance shall constitute a violation. Any violation thereof shall be subject to a fine of not more than $1,000 for each violation. Each day the violation continues shall be considered a separate offense. So recently we were surprised and very disappointed to learn that thus far there have been no fines issued by the village to the sports club, not for the initial violation or for their very slow process of applying for jurisdictional determination. We note that the village ordinances identify several offenses by ordinary citizens that have minimum penalties, such as debris accumulation, fences, graffiti, animals. For those village offenses, an individual ordinary citizen could face a minimum fine of $50, up to $500, with some having maximum penalties up to $1,000 per offense. And that's for each day, because in your ordinances, each day constitutes a separate offense. Thus, it's inconceivable that the intentional draining of a large wetland with no permits would incur no penalties from the village, especially when the violator delays the restoration. So I ask, in Hainesville, can any property owner drain a large wetland with no permits and not incur any penalties? Especially when they aren't going to take any action immediately? No penalties means no deterrence. No deterrence means no protection for our wetlands, nor for any of us who live in the wetland and watershed. We sincerely hope that the village will appropriately assess penalties for the sports club that were first reported by the public over a year ago and are still unresolved today. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. We'll take the microphone, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there by chance anybody else who would like to speak on this topic or any other topic that's on this particular agenda? Clark?
If there's no other.
About that?
Okay, so my name is Barbara Jersey, 120 Tall Oak Drive, and just as to economize and everything else that's happening tonight, I'd like to present the board with each of you with my bulleted point request for, basically I'm referencing item number 7, items B through I on tonight's agenda. And given, in lieu of the fact that your previous comment about the Army Corps of Engineers and them not doing an analysis yet, I understand that there's numerous challenges when it comes to Cranberry Lake, one of which is, of course, maintenance restriction issues. But nonetheless, I'm going to make a request to, for your consideration to increase financial commitments to Cranberry Lake and its maintenance. And so I'd like to pass this out so that I can just save time, so that each one of you can read my reasons for doing so.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
By the way, I feel like I'm in really notable company. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you all for coming and sharing your thoughts with us during public comments. You pointed out, a number of you pointed out, that it was the public who first spotted this and then called us last April. And when I first received that communication, I drove out to the sports club and noted it and contacted our engineering firm to follow up on it. I appreciate the fact that it was reported. In a number of our newsletters since I've been mayor, I've included an explanation saying that there aren't enough of us to view everything in the village. So we appreciate, and I ask for the public to report violations if they see it. So thank you for taking the time to do that. I need to reiterate that until the JD did start, was requested in December, and it's been sitting with the Army Corps since then. We've been waiting for that, their final decision. Until we get that, I have no authority, the board has no authority to issue fines or any sort of punishment at this point. When that jurisdictional determination comes through, we'll discuss it as a board. If it is in fact becomes the village's responsibility, we'll discuss it at that point. And I'm sure you folks will keep in touch. And I have no problems with that. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. If you'd like to stay for the rest of the meeting, you're more than welcome to. But it's some regular business. If you don't want to, feel free to take a moment and head on home and enjoy your evening. Totally up to you folks. So thank you all. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Richmond. Aye. George Duberstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein. Aye. Vogel. Aye. And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Reports. Finance, Mary Kelly, anything beyond what you've done?
I have some items under new business and just one other item. We did schedule our audit for fiscal year '24. It's going to be split into 2 different months, a week apiece. So the first week starts June 24th, and then the next one starts August 5th. It's out there.
Can't look for, I'm so looking forward to it, is what I'm trying to say. All right, great answer. You have to explain your phone, Georgianne.
I thought that we were considering checking out other rooms, or we decided not to do that.
We were considering, and because of the complications we ran into this year and the increase of GASB's, Kelly asked, I approved that we stay with them at least one more year.
Okay, thank you.
Great Age Club, anything to report?
Well, we lost one of our members the other day, sadly. Excuse me. Our next meeting is the first Thursday in May at 10:30 in the morning here at the Village Hall. We're having a financial advisor coming and talking about ways to preserve money that the seniors have. And it's open to anybody, so anybody that's interested in hearing about it is welcome to come. Other than that, we don't have any other plans. On Swelco, the second week in May is International Compost Week. And we are one of the few communities that can get involved in this. And we did this last year. It was the first year. And we're doing it again this year. Now, on May 9th, there's a Zoom call, and it's really for families or anybody that's interested. It's arts and compost, and there'll be dancing and singing, and I have no idea what it is. But we did put some information out on our website. So we're hoping that people will take advantage and learn the value of composting. On the 11th, Saturday the 11th, we're doing composting. I think it starts at 10 o'clock. And you can bring 2 buckets and a shovel, or we may have a shovel for you, and have at it. It's just the right time of year to start your gardening. Flowers, trees are blooming, and flowers are trying to survive the few nights when we had cold spells. So feel free, it's open to the public, not just Hainesville, so feel free to come and gather up some compost.
Now, you know that a number of government agencies have been accused of spreading fertilizer. We are. All right, anything else, Georgianne?
No, that's the thing.
Civil War, George?
Okay, planning will begin in earnest in May for our October event. So we don't have anything to report at the moment. The other thing I mentioned, a little off the subject, last meeting I reported on the fact that we were waiting for Lake County's approval of our emergency operation plan. We now have that approval. I think all of you got in your box a copy of the 100+ page emergency operation plan, which has now been finalized. It's been a long time in coming, but it's finally there, and we can move on to other things.
Thanks, questions, you should have a copy of that in your mailbox.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Christina?
So the only thing I have is just letting everyone know, trustees and residents, in an effort to work on the administrative rights of our village Facebook page, we have encountered some complications, and we currently have lost access to that page. We have created a new village page, so there is one in existence. And we are working behind the scenes to try to regain access to that original page. But if it is not able to be regained, then we will be sure to put all the new information out and share that with everyone. So.
And the new page is accessible through our website. All right, thank you. As usual, my mayor's report is in the packet, but I would like to make one announcement. Is Police Chief Phil Perlini is retiring as of August 1st. We've been aware of that for a while. Last week, the Grays Lake Board officially, after a long process, appointed Jeff Myra, who is currently the deputy chief, as the new chief.
Good.
And I passed along my congratulations, and I've invited Chief Perlini, he hasn't got back to me yet, to our July meeting so we can roast him or compliment him. All right, Public Works report is in your packet. We do have an ad hoc committee that has just recently formed with nothing to share tonight, dealing with, or actually stemming from Barb, your comments at the last meeting. Georgianne and Mary Coble will be co-chairing that committee, and we look forward to reports in the future. All right, takes us to business. I need a motion.
Excuse me, could you tell about the packet so that the students know?
Oh. The Thursday before our board meetings, the board, all the board members receive a packet electronically. And it contains not only agendas, but all the backup, supporting paperwork, data, reports. And so they're informed of all this. Tonight is not the first time they're hearing of it. And our process has been for a number of years, excuse me, that if the board members have any questions about the packet, they call and they ask the treasurer, myself, the clerk for clarification. If they don't receive clarification or if there's more information received, they're welcome to ask questions at the open meeting. So the board isn't just coming in here and going, aye. They've got the background information, okay? Thanks for reminding me, Georgiana. Need a motion to approve the appropriation ordinance fiscal year 24-25.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Richmond. Aye. George Duberstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein.
Aye.
Vogel.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Need a motion for the approval of the budget fiscal year May 2024 to April 2025. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. George Duberstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein.
Aye.
Vogel.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Need a motion for the approval of the estimate of revenue fiscal year May 24, April 25.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. George Duberstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein. Aye. Vogel.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Need a motion for the approval of resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code RBI for $81,017.90. So moved.
148,
I'm sorry.
the one above it?
You skip
Oh, I
one.
skipped some. All right, we're on 5. I'll go back, thank you. For number 5, need a motion for approval of resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code RBI for $81,017.90.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. Duberstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein.
Aye.
Vogel.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Moving backwards in time, approval of a resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code MFT for $148,982.10.
Second.
Discussion?
Just an adjacent question. We made a plan for the repaving of all the village roads, is that correct? And the cycle.
Up until this year, we've had a 5-year plan where we move our way through with our new architects
Engineers.
and engineers. We'll complete this summer's work, and then we'll start looking at every other year. We have typically spent $250,000. Their recommendation was that if we hold out a little bit, go with $500,000 every other year, we'll get better prices. So one of their contracts, that if the budget gets approved tonight, they will develop that 6-year plan for us. Okay?
So same amount of money, same 6-year plan instead of 5-year plan, and then pretty much.
Every other year, it'll be up to a contract for the board. Okay?
Thank you.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. George Duberstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein.
Aye.
Vogel.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to award the 2024 road, since we've approved the budget. Need a motion to award the 2024 road resurfacing program, MFT, to Peter Baker and Son for $208,487.60. Of the 4 bids we received, this was the lowest qualified bidder. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. George Duberstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgiana Duberstein.
Aye.
Vogel.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I need a motion to approve the following contracts. Each of these contracts are included in the just approved budget and therefore are not listed as separate motions.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. George Duberstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein.
Aye.
Vogel. Aye. And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
7:12. Thank you all. Students, I'll meet you in the back.